All right, we are moving on to day 2 of factoring quadratics. All right, so let's go ahead and jump straight into notes. Don't waste any time. So you guys did all that stuff yesterday with the mumbo jumbo and the words and the definitions. Well, today we're just going to jump into factoring, and then we're also going to learn how to solve them. So just as a quick refresher, our goal is to get him to multiply to the second or last number, our C. So multiply to get us 7, but add to get us 6. Okay, so here's our first example that we're going through. So, some factors of 7. Let's see, we got 1 and 7. And keep in mind, the 7 in this problem is negative, so our goal is to get a negative 7. Well, let's say our 1's negative in this case. Okay, cool. We've got 1 and 7 again, but my 7 can be negative in my second case. So let's see what they add up to. The first one, you get 6. And the second one, you get negative 6. So we are going to use the first one. So that means on my answer, I've got x minus 1 and x plus 7 equals 0. So that next step that we're going to do is set both of these factors equal to 0 individually. So we've got x minus 1 equals 0. And we have x plus 7 equals 0. Well, solving equations, let's solve for x. So we know in our first one, our goal is to get over that 1. So instead of subtracting it, we're going to add 1 to both sides so these cancel out. So in this problem, x equals 1. And in our second one, we got to get rid of that 7. So if it's a plus 7, you have to do the opposite, which is subtract. So x equals negative 7. So our solution, our set of numbers that work, is 1 and negative 7. That's our set of solutions. That's just meaning what works for this quadratic. So that's number 1. Number 2, let's do that same thing. So remember, our goal is to get them to multiply to C, which is our positive 6. So multiply to get us 6, but add to get us 3. So let's look. We got 1 and 6. We've got 2 and 3. And let's see, anything else we've got? And no. So we could do negative 1 and negative 6, and we could do negative 2 and negative 3. Well, let's see, 1 and 6 gives us 7. 2 and 3 gives us 5. That gives us negative 7 and 3, negative 3 and negative 2 gives us negative 5. Well, am I ever going to get a 3? Well, it doesn't look like it, so this is a does not factor, which is totes cool. It happens. But don't just put can't factor on ones you don't know how to do. That's just laziness. Don't be like that. All right, let's go on to number 3. So, oh snap, this one just looks different. So, we got to get it in the original form. Remember, we've got ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That's what we need it to look like. So as you can see, what's thrown off this whole mess is this 4x. No. We got to move that 4x over. So keep in mind, on this side of the equal sign, it is a plus 4x. Well, if we want to move it over, we're going to have to subtract 4x on both sides for these to cancel out and get us with 0. Well, now we've got our x squared minus 4x plus 4. Oh, that looks so much better, and now I know what to do. So we take our c term. Our goal is to get them to multiply to get you 4, but add to get us negative 4. Let's look at these factors. So we've got 1 and 4, and we have 2 and 2. Well, keep in mind, we could also do negative 1 and negative 4, and we could also do negative 2 and negative 2. Well, 1 and 4, that gives us 5. 2 and 2 gives us 4. Negative 1 and negative 4 gives us negative 5. And negative 2 gives us a negative 4. And there it is! We are going to be using x minus 2. It's a 2. And x minus 2. We're going to set that equal to 0. So then our next step is to set both factors equal to 0. So we have x minus 2 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. Well, let's see. How do we solve? So, do the opposite. So instead of minus 2, we're going to add 2 on both sides. So these cancel out. So we have x equals 2. And, oh snap, same thing here. We're going to add 2 to both sides. X equals 2. So our set of solutions is just 2. It's just a way to format to write how we have multiple answers. And we can talk more about that if you guys are confused. So that's example number 3. Example number 4. Oh, we got a problem. We have a negative x squared. I'm not okay with that. So let's move it over. So instead, we're going to do the opposite. So plus x plus 13x plus 36 equals 0. We moved all that stuff over. All right. So now we're going to take our last term. We have 36. It needs to multiply to 36, but it needs to add to 13. So let's see, we got 36. We've got 1 and 36, duh. We also have 2 and 18. All right, then we've got 3 and 12. Oh, so many factors. Then we have 4 and 9, and no, we're not done yet. And then we have 6 and 6. All right, let's see which one gets us 13. Well, 1 and 36, no, that gives you a good 37. 2 and 18, yeah, no, that's a 20. Let's see, 12 and 3, well, nope, that's a 15. 4 and 9, oh my gosh, it's a 13. So we're going to be using 4 and 9, and both of them will be positive. So that's an x plus 4 and an x plus 9. That equals 0. So now when we first start to solve it, we've got x plus 4 equals 0. And then we have x plus 9 equals 0. Aw, snap, got to do the opposite. So subtract 4 on both sides. X equals negative 4. Same thing here. Subtract 9 on both sides. X equals negative 9. So that means our solution is negative 4 and negative 9. That's going to be our solution to this quadratic. All right. Number 5, that first thing we have to do is make it look like a quadratic. It is one, but it's not in that x squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form. It's making me mad. So to do that, oh snap, we got to distribute that x. So we've got x squared minus 10x equals negative 9. Well, it is still not correct because it doesn't equal 0, it equals 9. So we have to move over that negative 9, and we'll do the opposite of what it is doing. So we're going to add 9 on both sides. So we've got x squared minus 10x plus 9 equals 0. Much better, much better. All right, now we got to find our factors. So we have 9. Well, they need to multiply to get us 9, but add to get us a negative 10. So factors of 9, we've got 1 and 9. And keep in mind, since it's positive, it could be negative 1 and negative 9. And we have 3 and 3, which they could both be positive or they could both be negative. Aw, snap. So let's see what they add up to. So 1 and 9 gives us 10. Well, that doesn't work because we're looking for a negative 10. But negative 1 and negative 9, oh my gosh, that gives us a negative 10. So what that means is we've got x minus 1, x minus 9 equals 0. Well, now we need to solve. So we set them both equal to 0. So x minus 1 equals 0 and x minus 9 equals 0. All right, let's solve it. So we're going to add 1 on both sides. So x equals 1 over her. And add 9 on both sides. Oh my goodness. X equals 9 over her. So then our set of solutions is 1 and 9. Booyah! All right, we got one more. So first thing you have to do is it's not in the x squared plus bx plus c form. But we got to get it that way. So we got to combine our like terms. But you see that there's an equal sign in the middle. So we can't just combine them. We have to move things over. So let's go ahead and move over this 4x squared. We're going to do that by subtracting. So now these cancel out. And you have 7x plus 10 equals 5 minus 4 gives us an x squared plus 4x. Oh snap, we still not done. So now we got to move over that 7x by subtracting. So now we have 10 equals x squared minus 3x. And then we got to move over that 10 minus 10 on both sides. So these cancel out. Finally equals 0. We have x squared minus 3x minus 10. Whoo! That one was fun. So now we got to take our last number. We have negative 10. Our goal is for it to add up to a negative 3. So multiply to get us negative 10, but add to get us negative 3. So let's see, we've got 1 and 10, and we've got 2 and 5. Okay, keep in mind if we're looking for a negative 10, that means something has to be negative. So let's go ahead and make the 10 negative, and we can make the 5 negative, or we could do negative 1 and 10, or negative 2 and 5. All right, well, if we look here, 1 and negative 10 gives us a negative 9. 2 and negative 5, oh my gosh, it gives us our negative 3 that we're looking for. So that's what we're using. We've got x plus 2, and then x minus 5, that equals 0. So now we got to solve. So x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 5 equals 0. Subtract 2 on both sides, x equals 2. Add 5 on both sides, x equals 5. So in our answer, our set of solutions is negative 2 and 5. Booyah, bada bing, bada boom again, and we learned how to factor when a is 1. Okay, go ahead and do your assignment, kick butt on that assignment, and if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. And yes, you better be working. We know if you're not. Bye!